everyone. All right, so we're going to do measures of central tendency. So this is our statistics unit. So section 1 of that is right here. So measures of central tendency. I don't know why that came up. They're a way to show data, and then mean, median, mode, and range, along with outlier or characteristics within that. So mean is basically average. And you're going to find the average of your numbers. So you're going to take all your numbers, add them up, and then divide them by how many numbers you had. Okay? The median is your middlemost number, and this is in numerical order. So when we do our practice, we need to make sure that we're putting it in numerical order. Mode is the most listed. So how many times the number is listed. If it's listed multiple times, then that'll be your mode. You can have multiple modes, but we'll do some examples so you can see that. Range is just your biggest number minus your smallest number, so max minus min. This shows you how your data is spread, how far or how small. That's what that shows. An outlier, so an outlier doesn't really fit in your data. It can change your measures of spread, which is your mean, median, and mode. Okay, so we're going to show what that looks like. So for number 1, what are the mean, median, mode of the Bowling score shown below? Which measure of central tendency best describes the scores? So we've got mean, median, if I can write, median, and if we have a mode, we'll have that in there. So mean, we're just going to take all these numbers and add them up. So we're going to use our calculator, okay, and we are going to show what that is. So we got 104 plus 117 plus 104 plus 136 plus 189 plus 109 plus 113 and then 104 again. So the top all added together would be 976. And then we're going to divide that by how many numbers we have. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 numbers. We have 8 scores. So we're going to take that number and we're going to divide that by 8. And we get an average score of 122. Okay. So now what we need to do for our median, we're going to take all these numbers, we're going to list them in numerical order. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit and make it easier for me. So numerical order, least to greatest. So 104 is our smallest, so we're going to list 104 as many times as we need to get through the data. So we have 3 of those. And then our next one is 109. And then 113. Then 117. 136. And then 189. That would be our last one. So in numerical order, this is going to be our middlemost number. So we have 8, so it's an even number, so you're going to see what we have to do for that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So our median is going to be between these two numbers, so 109 and 113. So when we have that, because we have an even number of scores, we're going to take the average of the two, and that's going to be our median. So 109 plus 113 divided by 2. So 109 plus 113 divided by 2. So 222 divided by 2 is 111. So our median is 111. Okay, so whenever you have an even, you don't have a dead center number because you have an even number of scores here, you're going to take the average of the two to find your median. And then mode is just the number that's listed the most, and here that would be 104. Okay, so that's the first part of the question. So then the second part is which measure of central tendency best describes the scores. So when we're looking at which one best describes your scores, we need to look at the data that we have. So most of the time you're not going to choose your mode. That's not something that you would even consider because that's just saying how many is listed the most. So you're really looking at your mean and your median. So in this case, your mean is right in here somewhere between the 117 and the 136, and your median is right in the middle right here. So usually you just need to look at the data and see what would best describe what you have. So you have a lot of really low scores in here, okay? So in this major chunk right there. And then you've got these two higher scores that make your mean a little higher. So for this second part of the question, your median would best describe your data because you have all of these scores from 104 to 117 that are represented around that number. And these two scores, 136 and 189, are skewing your mean, making it a little bit more because they're higher. Okay, so that is that. So let's look at number 2. Your grades on 3 exams are 80, 93, 91. What grade do you need on the next exam to have an average of 90 on 4 exams? I think we've done something like this already this year. But basically, you're finding your mean here. Okay, you have a mean. You're not finding the mean. You're using what we know about average and mean to find that missing exam score. So you have grades of 80, 93, 91, okay? And it says what grade do you need on the next exam to get an average of 90? So we don't know what that exam is. That means there's 4 exams, 1 we don't know, but we want an average of 90 total, okay? So we're going to add that up. So 80 plus 93 plus 91. So 264 plus x over 4 is equal to 90. So at this point, you're probably like, what do we do? You're asking yourself, what do I do from here? We are going to get rid of this 4. We're going to multiply both sides by 4 here to get rid of the bottom. So crossing that out. So now we have 264 plus x, and 90 times 4 is 360. Then you would just subtract the 264. Okay, so 360 minus 264. You would need a 96 on the next exam to get a 90 overall. All right, so that's number 2. So for 3, what do you need on the next exam to have an average of 88 on the 4 exams? So I want you to do that one on your own. Okay, based off what we just did on number 2, you should be able to do number 3. So for 4, we're going to find the range. We're going to figure out how to do that. So the closing prices in dollars of 2 stocks for the first 5 days in February are shown below. What are the range and mean of each data? Okay, so range and mean of each data set. Use the results to compare your data sets. So we're going to find the mean and we're going to find the range. So let's do what we know first. Let's find our mean. Okay, so we're going to find our average. So 25 plus 30 plus 30 plus 47 plus 28. And there are 5. Oh, sorry guys. There are 5. Okay, so I believe this is 160. Yeah, 160 divided by 5 is 32. Okay, so that's $32 is your average. And then finding the range is actually pretty easy. As we wrote in our definition, we're going to take your biggest number and we're going to subtract your smallest number. So here the biggest number is 47 and the smallest is 25. So you should have a range of 22 numbers. So I'm going to have you go ahead and do the same thing for stock B. So go ahead and do that now. All right, so if you found your mean and your range for stock B, you should see that your mean is 32 as well, but your range is only 6. So now let's compare the two sets. So for the mean, their mean is the same, but their data is completely different. So you can have a range of values that will give you the same average, the same mean, as long as it kind of balances out. So the one thing that's different here is your range. Okay, here we have a range of 22 numbers, and here we have a range of 6 numbers. So the data is more closely set in stock B. Okay, so your closing prices are more consistent for stock B. Stock A has a wide variety. Okay, it has a wide variety of closing prices. It's spread over 22 numbers. So if you're looking at stocks, you're going to want something that's more stable and consistent. So that's what we're taking a look at. So for number 5, let's see, for the same days, the closing prices of stock C were 7, 4, 3, 6, and 1. The closing prices in dollars of stock D were 24, 15, 2, 10, 5. What are the range and mean? I'm going to have you do number 5 on your own. So go ahead and do that real quick. So then let's take a look at number 6. So the results on the number of television students' households are below. Calculate the mean, median, and range of the data. I'm going to have you do 6A on your own as well. You should be able to do that. And then part B, how can you tell from the values that the mean and median are equal? I want you in your own words to describe what's happening in the data. Okay? And then looking ahead here, number 7 is the same. So I'm going to have you do 7 on your own. Okay, so make sure you answer those questions. And then 8, the results from the same quiz given to 2 different classes are shown below. Which class has a higher standard for being in the top half of the quiz scores? By comparing the data, how can you tell which mean is greater? I want you to do this one on your own as well. So you're doing a few practice problems on your own. If you have questions, come to office hours. Have a great day.